This week, we learn the true meaning of Hanukkah and also talk about a movie I made us all watch, Adam Sandler's Eight Crazy Nights. I'm Chad.
And I'm Matt.
Sit back and enjoy episode 32 of our podcast. We used to talk about this at work. All right, Matt, we are back, man. It is December. The year is almost ticking away. Like, we're just weeks away from 2022. And I just heard on the news that we got a whole new variant of COVID. I know we talk about COVID every fucking week, I know. But the fuck, will this ever end?
Nope, because we gotta talk about COVID. Don't investing. It's gonna be a circle that it's gonna groundhouse that all over with.
Also, exercise.
Right. But nah, I think people are done with COVID. When I say that, I'm like, people new variants gonna come out, everything else, but people's like, nah, we've already been through this. Whatever happens, happens. Fuck it.
I'm ready to die.
Yes.
But yeah, so we got a guest this week, and currently it's the last couple of days of Hanukkah, and we brought in a guest to tell us what that is, and really have a discussion about it. Try to expand the horizons of the podcast and also the listeners as well, enrich their lives. So I would like to welcome on the podcast Rachel.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, Rachel, who are you?
Who am I? I am a social worker. I work downtown St. Louis. Who else am I? Sister, daughter, all those good things. I don't know.
How do we know you, Rachel? How'd you get on this podcast?
Chad invited me. I love stories. So I guess it makes sense that I ended up on a movie podcast.
So how was everybody's Thanksgiving?
We had a lot of people come in from out of town, which was fun. It's always fun to see family. And I have a little nephew this year. So got some baby time, got some baby snuggles. And so that was good. Food's always really good. Yeah, so pretty good Thanksgiving.
Yeah, mine was all right. I wasn't feeling it this year like I normally do. And I can only attribute that because my brother came into town with cousins and everything. They out there having a good time playing cards and drinking and all kind of good stuff.
They also was at Dave and Buster's and shit. Like, they invited me out. We was kicking and stuff. I was with your nephews and stuff, high-fiving. I was kicking it with Steve and Laura.
And I was missing that. I was up here, and plus, like, it's not Thanksgiving's not a holiday for them, so they coming after work. Like they was coming to like 15, 1600. And normally, we like to eat at 11, 12. So, and plus I was just feeling it this year. I mean, I cooked and everything. They said it was good, but it's not feeling it.
I'm sorry. I cooked this year too. We kept Thanksgiving really low key. So I made some fried chicken, did the ham, had a little lasagna, just kept it nice and light, easy breezy, beautiful cover girl,
You had fried chicken on Thanksgiving?
I found a recipe and I wanted to try it out.
I love Black people. Like, we just have whatever for Thanksgiving. Like, white people, they have their turkeys and stuffings or whatever like that. We have a catfish, lasagna, fried chicken, crab legs, whatever it is. Like, my family does brisket and stuff like that. So it's like whatever. So it's a meal, family meal. We're gonna do whatever. All our favorites.
Rachel, what y'all have for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, we totally had turkey, stuffing, pumpkin bread, veggies.
Wait,
salad.
What's pumpkin bread?
Wait, right. I'm like, hold up, pumpkin bread?
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say pumpkin pie.
Bread,
yeah,
like banana bread, but like pumpkin bread.
I've never heard of that before.
Bread, but
that's some white people stuff.
I mean, probably they have it at Starbucks.
Then yeah.
But my grandma makes really good pumpkin bread. I'm not a big pumpkin person, but it is amazing. It's really sweet. And she always does the turkey. She always does the stuffing. She does the stuffing like outside of the turkey and inside the turkey. Yeah, everyone kind of chips in, and then we always have pies at the end, like apple, cherry, pumpkin, whatever. So yeah, but the next night we had brisket.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it is a fucking free for all around here. I wish we had this content for Josh. I hope he's listening so that he knows this is how we do Thanksgiving. It's just fucking whatever.
Yeah. No, Josh is listening.
But yeah, so you mentioned earlier before we hit record, Rachel, that you got back to the theater during these COVID times we live in. Now, when I say theater, I don't mean movie theater.
Yeah, we went to the Fox Theater in St. Louis, which is this beautiful theater. It actually used to be a movie theater, but now it's like touring Broadway shows and sometimes concerts come there. And my grandma and my mom and I went and we saw Pretty Woman the musical. So that was interesting. It was the first time for all of us. I was really excited that Adam Pascal was playing the lead because I knew him from Rent and I was like in the same theater as him, and he actually did a really good job.
Was he playing Richard Gere?
Yeah, he was playing Richard Gere's character. It was kind of weird seeing him with gray hair because he had blonde hair in Rent, but that was also a really long time ago.
So was Richard Gere old his entire life?
Well, I've seen him in movies with brown hair, but I think he was kind of like a later star. Like he found stardom later on in life, and then people really liked him, so he just kept going, as opposed to being discovered when he was actually like really young. Because Julia Roberts was really young in that movie. I think she's like 18 or something. I mean, there's an age gap. Yeah, I mean, there were people sitting around me that were just saying the lines with the characters or like knowing what happens next because it's such a beloved movie. But they did switch around some things. Some I didn't like, some were okay. And then they switched around, like, not only the plot points that they switched around a little bit, but also like the lines. So I thought it was very important in the movie where they said certain lines, and to see that mixed up on stage, I didn't like that. It was like not in the right order. It didn't make as much sense to me. Like I don't think it resonated as much where they put certain lines. And then, I mean, the costuming was kind of hard because they wanted to like kind of use the movie costumes, but obviously they can't do exactly the same thing.
They didn't want to show them in prostitute outfits.
Oh no, she wore that. She did. I mean, I don't think that part was the issue. But yeah, and then just I feel like if you're doing a musical, not like the movie needed Richard Gere, but when you're doing a musical, I feel like multiple guys could play that lead. But when you're trying to replace Julia Roberts the way she did Pretty Woman, it's like really hard to do. I don't think that the actress who did her like on stage had the same kind of like, I don't know, like energy and feel. Like it didn't feel the same. So that, I think that was the most disappointing part.
I get that. A lot of those like roles where they're like, this is gonna be blankety blank, the movie, the musical. Those are some big shoes to fill. So I get that.
I will say I have seen a musical that I think did a good job. And that was Legally Blonde, from movie to musical. So I think it's possible. I just don't think it happens very often. Also, The Wedding Singer from movie
That's
to
a musical?
Well, it is now. The movie is not really a musical, but yeah, they turned it into a musical.
Matt, did you know that they made Back to the Future a musical?
That doesn't surprise me.
Right.
It seems like everything's turned into a musical.
It's quick cash.
Yeah.
I will say Beetlejuice is excellent. I'm not talking to you, Matt, but I'm just saying to the audience and Rachel, Beetlejuice is really good. The musical is, in my opinion, is better than the movie. So Matt, you have quite a few things to review this week, man. I'm just gonna step back and let you take it.
Well, no, not really review, more like promote. Like I spoke earlier, my cousin came into town and talking to her and everything. And she's a writer. And I want to see if I can get her on the podcast in the future.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that. Like, this woman should come on and promote her own stuff.
Nah, but she might be too big time for us now because
this the boost we need. We're gonna leech off her success.
That's what I'm trying to do. She just wrote a book with LeBron James. Yes, that LeBron James.
Of Space Jam: A New Legacy fame, the movie that we ripped to shreds.
Yes, that person. Hey, I'm being honest out here. Sure, that movie was not good.
LeBron, hey, you knew that was shit.
Right, he in there for that money. My cousin's name is Andrea Williams. She's a writer. So the book I'm talking about is called We Are Family with LeBron James. It's New York Times bestseller. Also, she wrote Baseball's Leading Lady, The Rise and Fall of the Negro Leagues. Y'all should check out those books. You can follow her on Twitter at Andrea Will Write, Andrea WILLWRTE. You know, I got to promote my family when they doing big things out here.
We will also put that in the show notes.
Right. So hopefully, you know, since she's a New York Times best writer, she won't feel like she's too big to be on my podcast.
Are you close with this cousin?
Yeah. It's my only quote unquote what's the word, first cousin? Yeah, first cousin. She's the only one. And Black Friday was did you guys do any Black Friday shopping?
I did not. I stayed away from it.
Didn't want to fight anybody or anything? I understand.
You aren't truly American then, Rachel. We supposed to be punching motherfuckers in the face yesterday.
I mean, I've done it other years. I've also worked it as a retail worker. And unless I need something super expensive that I probably won't get for a better price any other time of the year, then I'm gonna pass.
Chad, what'd you get into? What'd you get?
You know, I bought some stuff. I didn't physically go to Black Friday because honestly, for the first time in like 10 years, I had to work on Black Friday. Mm-hmm. So all my shopping was online. And also I did it like Monday, Tuesday, because you know, it's Black Friday all week now. So right. I did some practical stuff. Like I renewed my my virus protection, you know, practical. I bought the 2021 version of my tax software, practical. I bought some $60 Legos, practical. It's all practical, guys.
I understand. I understand.
So this set that I got, it'll be here later next week. It's some flowers, and I was like, you know what? I want to have like some decor in my Lego area. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So once you get it, I need you to post it on the podcast IG so that people can see what you're talking about.
Oh, I would definitely do that.
So let Lego could send us some free shit.
Oh man, actually, I was looking at a YouTube video the other day about how to be a Lego ambassador, and that shit is easy. We just actually need to really be more engaged on social media, and we can get that shit.
Go for
you're
it.
A Lego person, yeah, do it. But, Rachel, you're a Lego person?
When I'm playing with kids, I am.
Am I a kid, Rachel?
Wait, hold on.
At heart, you're a kid.
Rachel, we trying to get free shit from Lego. So I'm gonna ask you again and you say the proper answer. So Rachel, Are you a Lego person?
Yes, absolutely. I love Legos.
Me too. I love Legos. I can't wait to get some. I like all the different ones from Star Wars, Harry Potter. I love them all.
You know, the Lego company is an amazing company, and I'm just so proud to own so many of their products because it fulfills me in life.
No, I understand. It's kind of like, I'm getting choked up just saying this right now, but it's just like I just remember playing with Legos as a kid and how much joy it brought to me. And I think like even brought me and my family together because we used to sit around and put Legos together. And now I can pass that on to my son. So when he's around, we're playing Legos like father-son time. And it's just like, honestly, I think Legos is what kept my family together during these hard times that I had experienced as a young Black kid growing up in the hood. So I think if it wasn't for Legos, then I don't even know where I'll be. I might be dead or in jail if it wasn't for Legos.
You know, I feel the exact same way, Matthew. This is Chadwick, by the way. It's just hard out here, and the Lego Corporation has been good to us all. Okay, they've been good to us all.
Right. And not only that, they're so innovative that like they branched out to the video games. So now with this new generation dealing with technology and everything, now we can move up from the physical form to the digital form. It's just like the Lego people are just geniuses.
They are. They are. Thank you, Lego. You Legoed our Legos. Thank you.
Yes.
I do feel like they're a very classical toy and like timeless.
They are until you get into the newer sets where they're like, give us $1,000 for a fucking replica of the Titanic. And you're like, I will, but did you need to do this?
That's true. But I mean, like,
That's a real set. It's like 10,000 pieces.
Like, kids have enjoyed them the same way, like, for our generation and generations before and generations coming up. I feel like they resonate with all generations.
I agree with that.
Yes.
So yeah, that's mostly what I did. Like, but then I bought like I'm almost done with my Christmas shopping. I just gotta buy like 3 gift cards and I'm done. Cause like I just did so much Black Friday shopping this week.
Right. But speaking about different technologies,
Yeah, we got way down the rabbit hole. I'm sorry.
Right. No, that looks perfect. That's all content. So the wife went out Black Friday and got me an early birthday / Christmas present, the Oculus 2. But yeah, so the Oculus 2, the VR, how familiar are you guys with that?
Not familiar at all.
So I know that Oculus is owned by the Meta Corporation, which is Facebook.
Oh.
Yes.
So Matt is giving up his sensitive data to Mark Zuckerberg every time he logs into that Oculus.
Better watch out there.
It's okay. I ain't got shit. He can take whatever he needs. But yeah, you do need Facebook to use it. So the first thing I tried is the Beat Sabers, this little thing, beat, stuff like that. It was great. So then they had a different game.
That's a drumming game? Like what is Beat Sabers?
No, it's like you have lightsabers and you have like a red or blue square coming at you. It's kind of like, any of those musical things like Guitar Hero where you have the music playing and you just type on a button, but instead of press a button, you swipe at the squares and they're like different heights and stuff like that. So you has a lightsaber and like this side is red, this side is blue. You got to hit it whenever it shows up, stuff like that.
Sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, it was. Then I ventured out to some kind of shooting game and you can climb on walls. And next thing you know, like as I'm climbing on the wall, I started to feel sick. Like my stomach started to hurt. And I'm like, what? So then I kept playing and then like my stomach started hurting anymore. So I stopped. I'm like, I told my son he can come play. So he was playing that game, climbing on shit, shooting shit. Next thing you know, he was like, my head hurts. I'm done playing. So then I just Googled Oculus 2 sick. And it turns out it's motion sickness. So doing more research is basically when your brain thinks you're moving, but your body is standing still. So that's how you get the motion sickness. So they say that's common around VR stuff.
So
But
can't you
Go
take
ahead.
like they got like pills for motion sickness, right?
Right. Because which is weird is I lived on a ship for 6 years. And I used to love when the ship was moving and rocking, people throwing up, and you're walking on the side of the wall because the ship was moving. But I guess now, that's been years since I've been on the ship. But I guess now I'm gonna try it again once we get done with this podcast to see if I do something else where I still feel the same. But besides the motion sickness, so far it's been good. And I'm gonna finish this off with Netflix recommendation, Cowboy Bebop. I finished the season. I enjoyed it. Action, comedy. I watched a couple episodes of the original anime, and I could see I didn't finish watching it because I was like, once I finished watching the live action, I was like, all right, I'm done. I understand what's going on. But it was good. I enjoyed it. Have you guys seen it yet? Any episodes?
No, I have not seen it, and I'm not sure if it's my usual thing, but I'll watch anything. So if I get bored, I might.
What is your usual thing?
I'm just not a big. I mean, I watch all kinds of stuff, but it's usually like mixture of comedy and drama. Yeah, I don't usually watch anime. I mean, I think I would like it if I did, but it's not the first thing on my list of things to watch. So probably watch other things first. No offense.
Nah, the fence was taken. Chad, these are the type of people you bring
Oh
on the
no.
podcast, man. We should
Look,
we should have discussed this offline, and now
Look,
it's
I
this
didn't
is
properly vet her. Okay, I'm
not
sorry.
apparently not. You didn't. All
But
right, we're gonna have to move past this.
I'm like 3 or 4 episodes in. The last thing I remember seeing was that woman, she joined the crew officially.
Mhm.
So whatever
Mhm.
episode that was. I like the show, but it's not hitting me hard enough to make me finish the season, if that makes sense.
Okay, I
So
got you.
I will finish it, and I will watch the anime, but I don't know if I can commit to what I said a couple of episodes ago because like I don't like it that much. Because if I did, I would have finished it by now.
No, I understand.
Yeah. So I also saw Bruised on Netflix. It is directed and starring Halle Berry. It's the one where she's a MMA fighter. It's shit. Don't watch it. Um, I don't like a lot of these Netflix original movies where they'll get like a big star or at least a recognizable face. And it seems like they spent the entire budget to get that one person. And then everybody else in the movie you've never seen before, even if you do nothing but watch movies. Like I hate that shit. I wanna see actors I recognize. The acting was fine, but the movie's not good.
But was it? I'm still gonna watch it. So was like the plot was just that bad?
The plot was fine. It's basically she was an MMA fighter. She retired for whatever reasons, and circumstances push her to get back in the ring. And so she's got to retrain, but she's also got stuff going on at home with the abusive boyfriend and shit like that.
Oh.
So it's not, the story isn't doing anything spectacular. I just want to lightly touch on that. Rachel and I saw Ghostbusters Afterlife, and what were your thoughts, Rachel?
I liked it better than the original. Um, Sorry, fans of the original. I feel like there are a lot of you out there. I liked this better. I mean, it definitely still had some issues for me, which I don't know how much I want to talk about it because I pretty much agree with Chad on everything that he's gonna say, since we kind of talked about it after the movie. But it was fun. It was fun. It was good. I mean, I think you could watch it and have fun with it, having watched like the original or any of the other movies. And I feel like you could have fun watching it even without any of that background. So I liked that part of it. It can like invite in a whole new generation of Ghostbuster fans.
Is this a sequel, or is it like a new one, or does like when is this supposed to take place?
It is a requel, or I just learned this term, a legacy sequel. So a legacy sequel would be like Star Wars The Force Awakens, where like real time has passed between the first movie and this sequel.
Mm-hmm.
And it references the shit out of the movie that it is proceeding.
So it doesn't count all like Ghostbusters 2 and 3 or whatever, how many stuff followed.
No, it does. It does.
Okay.
It does.
Okay.
I mean, it just doesn't acknowledge Lady Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
But that was in its own universe if you've seen the movie. I will say this, like, I liked the movie. It was fun. I'm not gonna get into my issues with it because, like I said, I think we're probably gonna do something with it next year. But it is a legacy sequel through and through, and that it uses its predecessors as a crutch after a certain point in the movie.
So it's like Coming to America too.
Oh god, it's not that bad, but yes. Yeah, that's another legacy sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I just want to quickly touch on, I saw House of Gucci the other day. It is not good. Lady Gaga will win an Oscar for it, but it is not good.
Is she just a full-blown actress now? Does she still sing or make albums?
That's a good question.
Okay, so I just want to say that she went to acting school before she was a singer. I'm pretty sure she actually, I'm not pretty sure. I think that she started singing while she was going to acting school to like help with bills and stuff. But she studied acting. So this whole her coming out of the blue being a good actress, like I don't believe it, because she like got into an acting school and graduated from it as far as I know. So I mean, I hope she still has a singing career, but
Rachel, if I am a football player, right, and you know me as a football player, I've won the Super Bowl and I'm a famous football player, and then it turns out that like in high school I was an architect, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, he does architecture now? And you'd be like, no, he's done architecture since he was in school. Sure, the public didn't know that. The public knew her as a singer. So now she switched over, or she started doing acting. So you're like, oh, she acts now too?
But that's it overlaps so much because you do act when you put on a show. And she sang in the first movie that she was in, and she's already been doing that TV show, right?
What TV show?
What TV show?
Wasn't she in American Horror Story or something?
Nah, I don't keep up with that.
Yeah, I watched that.
Well, she was in some kind of TV show before she was ever in a movie, and she sang in the movie. And I mean, just I feel like all entertainment overlaps, and so I don't think it's that big of a leap for her, especially considering she went to acting school. I guess that's my point.
She released an album last year.
Okay.
No, but
are you a Lady Gaga fan?
I mean, it sounds like she's a motherfucking stan.
Right, that's what I was about to say. She defended her hardcore. I was like, what?
Is Lady Gaga your cousin? Like, god damn.
No, actually, I haven't followed her music in a while. Like, I mean, like, I'm a semi-fan. Like, I like some of her stuff. I don't know all of it by any means, and I don't really follow her. When she was going around talking about A Star Is Born with Bradley Cooper, she was saying how, like, he took a chance on her and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, I saw in her background that she went to acting school, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
I at no point am discounting Lady Gaga as an excellent actress. I said she will win an Oscar for this movie, but this movie is not good.
And I was saying that the general population doesn't know that she went to acting school or graduated acting school. We know her as a singer, so now she's doing more and more movies. So it's like, oh, she does this too. That's what I'm saying. But how many
people do both? Justin Timberlake did both.
Nah, fuck Justin Timberlake. No. We're not using him as an example on this fucking podcast, unless we're using him as an example of a human piece of shit.
Okay, what about
Well,
Beyonce?
Wait,
No,
hold on. Why don't you like Justin Timberlake?
You don't support Janet Jackson? Fuck Janet Jackson. You forgot what that motherfucker did.
Oh,
I thought it was gonna be about Britney Spears stuff, but okay.
I mean that too, but Janet is the first thing that I think of. Yeah, it's just the movie is really long. Like if you've seen the trailer paints it out as a movie where it's like, oh shit, Lady Gaga's gonna convince Adam Driver to kill his family so he can take over the Gucci company. And it's not really that. Like murder does happen in the movie, but genuinely, I'm not fucking exaggerating. The murder happens like 5 minutes before the movie ends. And then they jump from this person is murdered, like this person's murdered, and the next scene is like 2 years later at court. Like it doesn't even show how fucking Lady Gaga got caught up. Like that whole part, the whole interesting part of the movie was an afterthought to the movie. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, it just meanders too long on some shit that is kind of interesting, but it's not really relevant. And also the movie takes place over like 17 years, but you don't even know the time has passed. Like you're watching, like the movie starts in 1978. They'll tell you that. And then they go to a meeting and they're like, oh yeah, this person did blah, blah, blah in 1984. And you're like, wait, it's not still 1978? Like, what the fuck? And then like when we get to near the end of the movie and they're like, and this happened in 1995, and you're like, nothing has told me it's 1995. I thought we were still in the 80s.
You couldn't tell about the clothes or the music or anything?
No, and this is a movie about fashion. There's barely any fashion in it. It had a lot of issues.
I just looked it up. So when Lady Gaga was 15, she appeared in Sopranos.
That makes sense.
And she was also in Sin City, A Dame to Kill For.
Nobody saw that shit. Nobody saw Sin City 2.
But yeah, she was in American Horror Story. She won a Golden Globe for it. And then yeah, I just typed in who sings and acts. Of course, they gave you the regular names. Well, no, that was just first one. Harry Styles.
No, yeah, he's about to get that Marvel money too.
Idris Elba. Hey, they say he a DJ. He don't really sing.
I don't count that shit. Also, who said Beyonce? Did you say Beyonce mad or did Rachel say Beyonce?
I said Beyonce.
Beyonce is a terrible example. Beyonce can't fucking act.
I thought she was good in Dreamgirls.
She was shit in Lion King.
I didn't say anything about Lion King.
This blasphemy that Chad is saying to Beyonce is not endorsed by Matthew. So send the Beehive, go attack Chad, not me.
I'm sorry. Did you not see live action Lion King?
No, I didn't.
Oh, don't. Fucking don't.
Well, no, I know. Once the reviews came out and they were talking about how it's like you can't put when they were like the lines look great, but the lines can't have the emotion face or whatever like that. And I was like, all right, there's no need for me to watch it.
Like genuinely, nobody actually came to the studio ready to actually pay respects to what came before. Like Donald Glover, it sounded like he was high during that production. James Earl Jones is like 90, so like you're not gonna get that same performance. Like his voice, he sounded old. Beyonce, I saw that.
So is she a bad actress because she was bad in Lion King, or is she a good actress because she was good in Dreamgirls?
Well, I had never seen Dreamgirls, the movie. I've seen it on stage.
But she was also in Austin Powers.
That the third one, Matt.
She's been in something else too.
Cadillac Records.
I didn't see that.
That's the one. That's the one that I
seen that one. And then also she was in the movie Obsessed.
I forgot about Idris, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that shit.
What about Rihanna?
What's she acting in?
Ocean's 8.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. Man, I forgot that movie
And
existed.
she was in some other, like, she was in a movie with, I don't know, there was a war.
She was in Battleship because she
Oh
was in the
yeah.
Navy.
Who saw that?
I did.
Because you in the Navy, they probably screen that shit for free.
Maybe. Barbara Streisand, Frank Sinatra.
Oh, fun fact about Barbara Streisand. She wanted to be an actress, but people were more like pulled in by her singing. So she used singing to get to acting.
I thought you were gonna loop this around to the theme of the episode that she's Jewish.
She is.
Oh, I didn't realize I was gonna kill the conversation. I'm sorry.
Because what are you supposed to say after that?
That is true. Moving on.
So at the time of this recording, 2 episodes of Marvel's Hawkeye have aired. And Matt and I have seen the 2 episodes, and Rachel's seen the 1. And I want to first off talk about the opening, not the opening, but the musical number at the beginning of episode 1 for Rogers the Musical. So what were your thoughts on this, Rachel? Because I have a few, not a few, like 2.
So are you asking me how I thought the musical did as a musical, or like how it did with the story in the TV show?
Just specifically as a musical.
Okay. So yeah, I have some comments. I thought like the routine.
Wait. Before you go, stop. Hold on. Now, I think I should go first because I don't watch musicals. I hate musicals. So let me go first. I enjoyed it. I liked it.
Excuse me, sir? Excuse me, sir?
I liked it. I ain't gonna lie. I liked it. Is that how musicals are? Really? Because I've never been to a musical. Is it like that where they're like...
Are you saying that you don't like musicals without ever having been to a musical?
He doesn't
Correct.
like movie musicals.
Yeah,
okay, but live musicals are completely different. And wow, okay.
Yeah, see, Chad, you didn't vet her against me. Now look at, she's mad at me now. Now we're even.
No, I'm not mad at you. I'm just saying like it's a completely different thing. I don't think you can say it without experiencing it.
Well, Chad used to have tickets to the Fox, and he was selling them for outrageous prices, so I can never get them for the low like I wanted to. So I'll put the blame on Chad.
You know what? The Muni has 100 or 1,000 seats in the back that are free. So if you lived in St. Louis
sit in the back
during the summer,
Rachel, what you think I am gonna sit in the back?
You can hear everything still, and you can see.
I don't want to hear it. I want if they just singing, I don't want to see that. But if it's like the Captain America one and they're dancing and they got people flying up and down, I want to see that.
That happens at the Muni.
Let's go back. Oh yeah, I liked it, and I liked how was the slogan, "I can do this all day."
Yes,
I thought that was great. Now go ahead. Yeah, you can say your things about how it's not up to the quality of the Muni and Fox's stuff, whatever musical stuff is. So you guys can do that. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Also, I think it's because I have not history. I have the knowledge of the whole background of the Avengers. So like what they were singing about, I knew what was going on. So I enjoyed it.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to say I don't think you can rightfully say that you hate musicals when you haven't seen one live. You just haven't seen the right musical, and you just haven't seen the right musical live.
So that's like saying, so if I say, if I'm watching soccer and I'm like, I've been watching soccer and I'm like, I hate soccer, but you like, oh, you can't hate soccer because you haven't seen it live?
Well, no.
Yeah, it is a completely different experience seeing it on TV versus live. I think the energy is completely different. And I think that's the same for sports games. When you're watching a sport on TV, it doesn't have the same feel as when you're sitting in a crowd in a stadium. Same with musicals. The music is, coming from a box. The musical has to fit into the camera lens. You know, it's not on a big stage. It doesn't have all these big speakers. They can't do all this crazy stuff. They can't, you don't feel it in the audience the same way, like watching a TV that you do when you're live. Just like there's a completely different feeling when you go to a concert versus when you listen to the album in your house. It's it just has a different feel when you're like home watching on a screen versus like going out and actually being there in person.
You can edit this part out, but I do like the engagement, the back and forth. Usually people are shy on the podcast. I appreciate that. But no,
I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I was very surprised that she's gonna come this hard, because like all leading up to this, she's like, I don't know, I don't really talk a lot, but she's like, now you listen here, motherfucker, musicals are life.
I'm very
struck that nerve with Lady
about
Gaga at first, and she was like, no, I'm tired of this shit. And then this motherfucker say he never been to a musical but hated. Fuck that. But no, wrap this back up. I agree with you as far as the live action, because I have seen hockey on TV, but actually being there, it's so much better because they don't do it justice of how big they are and also how fast they're going. So it was so much better watching it live than watching hockey on TV. So
That's how I feel about sports. It's like, I think I've said this before on the podcast. It's like, if you're like, hey, let's watch sports on TV, I'm like, I'm good. But if you invite me to a game, I'm like, fuck yes. So what were your thoughts on the musical, Rachel?
Yeah, so I thought some of the moves were cool. I thought they could have done a better job with the music, because I mean, there's pop musicals, there's rock musicals, there's hip hop musicals. Like there's so many different types of musicals. You don't have to go Broadway with it. And I feel like if you're doing a superhero musical, like make it as big as a superhero, like make the music match the, like, I don't know, intensity of, or like immensity of the superhero. And especially since they were saving the world, like build up, like give me some more than just like normal Broadway. I don't know.
like,
I'm
elaborate more on that. What do you mean give you more?
Well, I feel like they sang a nice song that was, just like it could be in any other Broadway show. So if you make a song about superheroes saving the world, can you do a little more than just a normal Broadway song? Because like this is a super intense, like high action story. Like just make it something different than just regular musical.
Okay, so I think what she's getting at is specifically for that part of the musical, you would think that would be the showstopper, like the song that would get nominated for awards, because like this is the part where we're saving the world, and this is like this is where people stand up and clap like as the song is still going, because this shit should be epic. I hear what you're saying, Rachel, but I thought about this and I've listened to that song a few times, and I think that song comes very early on in the musical, because they're introducing characters. When they're like, Thor is this, and we've got Ant-Man and all this shit, and you wouldn't do that during the showstopper. I feel like the musical probably starts with that song.
But then later on, they were talking about Hawkeye saving the day. Is that all an introduction song?
Yes, like all that was one song.
But can they still make it slightly different than just a normal Broadway song? Like this is not a normal Broadway story. Like differentiate.
Well, also you got to think about the universe that this is in. So like, I'm sure there have been other superhero musicals, but so here's my thing with it. I like the song, but to slightly reference part of episode 2. In episode 2, Hawkeye goes to the park and engages with some LARPers, live action role players. And with that, and also this musical, I got the feeling that they are making fun of these things, but they aren't pushing it hard enough to be like, ha ha ha, this is stupid. But they are like, ha ha ha, this is silly. And so I think that's what they were doing with the musical. Like they're making fun of it, but they aren't pushing it that hard. So I feel like that's kind of why the song was good in my opinion, but it didn't go as hard as it could have gone. And a lot of the elements of it were kind of silly. Just like if you just read how Hawkeye is um reacting to the scene, like yeah, he's got some low-key PTSD, but he's also like annoyed by it as well.
Well, I mean, I think part of the thing is that he's watching, like anytime you watch a story about your life after it's happened, like there's going to be some kind of weird disconnected feeling. And I feel like the way they staged it made it even more disconnected because it was such a like happy, upbeat, like Broadway thing, as opposed to being a serious, life-threatening, like they could have presented it in a scarier way. Like there are musicals, like darker musicals that,
You aren't going to spend $300 a ticket to Rogers the Musical to see some shit that's going to depress you. Just like with Hamilton, like that's the fucking ticket on Broadway. And you're not paying to be reminded like, oh yeah, all these people own slaves and they're like actual terrible people. It's upbeat and fun. It's got slick lyrics and shit. And it's the same thing with this. Like it's commentary. Like it's fucking satire. Is that right? Satire.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
kind of
you're
see what
saying,
you're
like,
saying.
so there wouldn't be like a musical about like Pearl Harbor or 9/11 or something like that.
There would be, but it's how you frame it. Like, yeah, Steve Rogers has done some shit and he's seen some shit. But for marketability, if you want this to actually get the awards and make a fuck ton of money, it's going to be a lot lighter than the reality.
So then why was he there in the first place?
I'm assuming that he got some free tickets. Like, a paid trip to the city. Like that
Okay.
nice ass hotel room they had.
That makes more sense to me because I was like, why is he watching this? And why is it not? I mean, I think they probably wanted to show the contrast between like his reality and then this completely like one track reality that people are portraying in the musical, that it's like all a happy thing.
That's how I took it, to where like, you have like, this country like hypes up the veterans and like this and flags and everything else like that. But when you actually talk to somebody who's seen some things, they don't like that stuff being propped up like that, to like not glorify. I don't know if that's the right word, but make light of it, like make it like a happy thing, where in reality it wasn't like that. So that's how I took it, to where like they're all laugh or not laughing, singing happy and everything, and he's just like, no, that's not how it was at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a bigger problem, like relates to a bigger problem, but I think a lot of times, like I know definitely the US kind of teaches patriotism to the point of erasing their mistakes, whereas you could teach patriotism while acknowledging the hard bits, and we don't do that. And that's kind of how the musical was too. It's like,
right,
like you can't be patriotic if you have any of the tough stuff in there. It has to be all good or it's not patriotic.
How do we feel about Hawkeye as a character?
I wouldn't have ever put Hawkeye in the first place, but sometimes you got to have the lesser known guys in there, and he was in the comic books and stuff. But I figure everybody needs a time to shine. Falcon got his. Now this is Hawkeye's turn, so everybody needs a time to shine.
I'm on the fence. Like I don't feel like I'm invested in him yet. but I've only seen the first episode. I'm way invested in the girl, Kate Bishop.
Yeah, Bishop. Yeah.
Okay, well,
That's
I'm really invested in Kate and her story. And I want to see what's going on with her side of stuff. Like, it seems like her mom's into something weird or something. So I'm like really invested in her already, but I'm not. I don't know. Hawkeye has a family. I think that's cool. He's obviously dealing with some stuff. Maybe if I saw the movies, I would be more invested in him. But I'm
No,
just
nobody gives a shit about Hawkeye.
okay. Well, I'm not invested in him yet. That doesn't mean I won't be eventually, but I would be watching for her. I would not be watching for him.
No, I'm with you on that. Like, I never really liked Hawkeye. I'm like, you're here. That's cool, but just don't get in the way. So the last thing is, so this is another cog in the wheel of the next phase of Marvel where Kate Bishop is part of the new Avengers. And that's kind of what we are going to end up with whenever we end phase 4. And I'm just I've s- I'm tired. I'm so fucking tired of Marvel being like, all right, we're gonna set some shit up, but it's not gonna pay out for like 3-4 years. I'm tired of this.
Do you think we will ever get past the superhero phase?
Yeah, I mean everything comes
Like,
in
like,
waves.
well, like you said, so like we have all of this stuff set up. Do you think we'll ever come to a time where people are like, nah, that's okay? But because I think like, because since they're coming out with so many different things, I don't know if it's going to have the full like capacity of like what the Avengers and everything did. Because like when they have different ones coming out, like She-Hulk or any of the other stuff, you still might have some people who want to watch it and be engaged, other people who won't.
I don't think we're at the point yet where people are like, I'm tired of this because, Spider-Man comes out in a few weeks and I feel like that might be like the biggest movie of the fucking year, like genuinely.
I kind of am at that point. Like, it's not that I don't want to see everything that they come out with. It's just that, and I'm a pretty patient person, and if the story's good and the movies are good, I want to follow along. But I somehow got off track. Like, I somehow didn't see one movie, and then all of these movies are connecting. So I don't even know where to go to start following it again. And then if we're adding new people onto that, we're
On
adding
on TV
extra
shows.
layers.
On TV shows.
Right. Like it's too much to keep track of. I like superhero movies. I like action movies. I really want to see Spider-Man, but I don't know if I'm going to be following any of it because like I totally got lost after I don't even know what was the last Avengers movie I saw. And so I'm just like I want to follow it, but I got lost somewhere. So do I have to start over? Do I have to catch up and then hope that I can like I just I don't have time for I don't have time for all of that. Like I want to see other stuff too. It's just getting really complicated and I'm interested, but I don't know if I'm invested enough to like fix where I'm at in the whole world before moving forward with these other movies. Like I might just go see Spider-Man and be confused and still just enjoy the parts that I can enjoy. I don't know. It's just been a lot.
Right. Because if you come to think, if somebody brand new came in and for this new Spider-Man, did you see the old Spider-Mans with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield?
I saw all the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield ones, and I think I've only seen maybe the first Tom Holland one.
You didn't see the Jacob Gyllenhaal one?
Far From Home.
Nope.
Okay, yeah, you definitely need to see the Jake Gyllenhaal one.
Yeah, see, but that's my point. Like I can't keep up. There's too much to see. There's too many things to watch. If you don't follow along with it, you're just lost.
And then also you're gonna need to watch the Daredevil show on Netflix to get some stuff too.
That's what I'm saying. You're gonna need to watch the Daredevil show. Also, you're gonna need to watch Doctor Strange because you're not gonna know what he's doing. So yeah, it's like that's why they
I
say
watched the
Marvel
first
Universe.
Doctor Strange.
Huh?
Is there more than one Doctor Strange? Because I saw Doctor Strange.
Not yet,
Well,
but you are gonna
well-
need to see Shang-Chi to know what Wong is doing. Why he
Right.
gone?
See, how am I gonna catch up at this point? It's gonna take
It's
me
all
all
connected.
year to catch up. See, that's why I think it's too much.
We watched the Rugrats Hanukkah special. It was cute. Yeah. You got any questions about Hanukkah before we get to this piece of shit movie?
Okay, first of all, that episode was awesome, not just cute. But yeah, go ahead with question.
All right, we'll get into it when we hit 8 Crazy Nights.
Well, I feel like there's more to talk about with the Rugrats episode because they actually tell the story of Hanukkah and they actually talk about the traditions of actual Hanukkah.
The Rugrats special was good. I feel like that was like the go-to thing. Like that's how I learned about Hanukkah, like when I was a young kid. But honestly, I didn't remember the episode being like that. Like I remember it being more flashbacky, like more similar to the Passover episode, where like I feel like all of that took place like in the past, where this Hanukkah episode takes place in the present, and I did not remember that at all.
So some of the Passover episode does take place in the present, but I do feel like more of it takes place in the past than the Hanukkah episode. So I kind of agree and disagree. As a kid growing up, pretty much the only Jewish content I ever saw on TV, like in the form of a kid show anyway. They probably had stuff on TV that I was not allowed to watch that had Jewish content, but this was like the only like kid show that had Hanukkah like Jewish content in it. And they were actually pretty accurate with the depictions of Hanukkah. I mean, they could have made the latkes look a little bit better because they actually are super delicious.
How come you didn't bring any in the studio for Matt and myself?
Well, it's a little far for Matt, and I didn't want to be unfair and bring some for you and not for Matt. So
that's a bullshit excuse, but okay.
no, really, I was like, maybe I can send him some gelt, the chocolate coins, but I was like, it might be melted by the time it gets to him, so I just didn't bring anything.
Also, I don't like chocolate.
There you go. But I like the fact that it showed them like hiding the Torahs and then pulling the dreidels out. That was true history that happened. They used dreidels as a cover because it was just a game for when they were reading the Torah, which for those of you who don't know, the Jewish, there are like a couple different Jewish texts. The Torah is the 5 books of Moses, or Christians would say the Old Testament. So that's what we're talking about when we say the Torah. It's written in Hebrew. It's in the form of these giant scrolls, so that's what you'll see like in the episode. The foods are accurate. They do make latkes, which are fried in oil, and they do make sufganiyot, which is this kind of donut fried in oil, because it's celebrating like the miracle of the oil. So we're eating foods that have oil in them or use oil. It's all a theme, it's all a symbol, which is pretty true for all of our holidays. It's all symbolism and connected, and yeah. And there were a lot of Jews who came over from Russia, so it tracks that those 2 grandparents and even the grandpa's rival was like Russian. There was a time where a bunch of Russian Jews came over to the US because they were being persecuted. Angelica was correct with the pronunciation of Hanukkah. So Hanukkah is like the English way of saying Hanukkah. Like if you read it in Hebrew and if you're going to say it in Hebrew, it's Hanukkah. You got the h sound, which I think I told you guys, like we spent a day in Hebrew school learning that sound. So I don't know if you want to try a little lesson really quickly.
How long did you have to be in Hebrew school?
Right. So Hebrew school is basically for the purpose of getting your bar bat mitzvah. You learn the alphabet, you learn how to read the words, you focus on the prayers and stuff. That all, and then sometimes you learn modern Hebrew and stuff too. But there's two different types. There's like biblical Hebrew, which is what you would see in the Torah, the Haftarah, other texts. And then there's modern Hebrew, which is what they speak in Israel. And so we mostly focused on biblical Hebrew. And we went to that for 3 years. And then you have a year of like tutoring to learn your Torah portion, Haftarah portion, learn how to lead the service, write 1 or 2 different speeches to explain the Torah and the Haftarah portion. Yeah, it's a lot of work. I would kind of
3 years. So like, was this like an actual school, or you did this like after school? Like
this was I went to my temple. They had a Hebrew school, and
So it's
like they
it's like
held
Sunday
Hebrew school. Yeah, we also had Sunday school too. But yeah, it's basically like Sunday school. We went twice a week.
Bible study, I guess.
I mean, we had both. We had Sunday school, which is you learn the stories, you learn the traditions, and then separately we had Hebrew school. When I was a teacher assistant at my temple, though, they started mixing the two. So you learned, it was originally when I was going, you learned Hebrew in Hebrew school, and you learn the stories and the traditions and do all the community service and all that in Sunday school, and you get confirmed. And Hebrew school was for your bar bat mitzvah. Now they were kind of mixing them together, assuming that everybody goes to everything. But Hebrew school was 3 years, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, for 2 days a week after school. And then we had a year of tutoring, learning those like other parts that we were actually going to read and chant and all of that at our actual service of the bar bat mitzvah, which I grew up in a Reform congregation. They do it a little bit differently in other branches of Judaism. But the whole point is that you're becoming an adult in the Jewish tradition, and you from that point on can read the Torah like directly. When you're a kid, you can't go up and read the Torah, but when you're becoming an adult, that's the first time you read the Torah, and then you can be asked to come up and read the Torah again. Kind of like how in the Catholic faith, like you can't take the bread and wine until a certain time period, if I'm getting that right.
Neither one of us is Catholic. We don't know.
All right, then.
You went to Hebrew school for 3 years or 4 years?
So I went to Hebrew school for 3 years, and then I went to a tutor for 1 year.
And is that normal to have a tutor?
Yeah, because someone is helping you learn your Torah portion and Haftarah portion. And then in my and my brother's case, we also started when a new rabbi came in and decided to change up the service. So we had to learn a whole new service as well. So when we went up on Saturday morning to do our service, lead our service, we led every single prayer, and we each, since we kind of combined ours, we each did a Torah portion, we each did a Haftarah portion, we each did a speech explaining the Torah portion and a speech explaining about the Haftarah portion. And then, you know, everyone knows about celebrating with a party after. But I would always be a little bit insulted or frustrated when the kids at school would be like, oh, you're so lucky you get a big giant party for your bar bat mitzvah. It's like, yeah, after 4 years of learning a new language and leading a service in front of a congregation full of people, we maybe deserve a little treat for ourselves. I don't know. And it's a rite of passage.
This week we discuss Adam Sandler's 8 Crazy Nights.
Adam Sandler, like you've never seen him before.
Please excuse me while I go take shower.
It's naughty.
Smell you later, Poopsicle.
It's nice.
They were giving out lobster bibs in the bathroom.
That's a germ protective for your tushy.
It's animated.
Davy Stone, an alcoholic with a criminal record, is sentenced to community service under the supervision of an elderly referee. Davy is then faced with trying to reform and abandon his bad habits. So, Rachel, what did you think of Adam Sandler's 8 Crazy Nights?
First of all, for this to be a Hanukkah episode, this movie had absolutely nothing to do with Hanukkah other than the fact that it takes place during Hanukkah. It doesn't talk about any of the Hanukkah traditions. It doesn't talk about the story of Hanukkah. The only remotely close to Hanukkah thing that happens is that there's supposedly a miracle at the end.
Okay, so in my defense, Rachel, I was really scrapping for some Hanukkah content, and there's not any quality out there. And I couldn't, and I forgot that this movie's bad.
It was bad.
Chad was like, yeah, this week we're going to do a Hanukkah episode. And I'm like, why the fuck are we doing a Hanukkah episode? He was like, it's that time. And I have somebody that's going to teach us about Hanukkah. And I was like, all right, I don't know shit about Hanukkah. This could work. Watch this movie. Sure. I watched this movie. They're singing in it. You know how I feel about people singing in movies. And also, I'm watching this. My first thing was, they didn't explain shit. I still don't know about Hanukkah. So I'm like, why do we watch this? They didn't explain anything. We should have just did our review of the Rugrats episode.
I mean, we really should have.
100% agree, since the Rugrats episode actually talked about the meaning of Hanukkah and the story of Hanukkah and the traditions of Hanukkah. And not to mention that it was actually a good episode, whereas this movie was not good.
Rugrats is better than 8 Crazy Nights.
Yes, 8 Crazy Nights was 8 crazy pieces of shit.
Also, I have to get on my soapbox for a minute. Again, another soapbox. They made some diabetes jokes in this. 2, to be exact, about that overweight kid. And as a type 1 diabetic, who knows that that's not how it works, even with type 2 diabetics, I did not appreciate it. Spreading misinformation. I just want to say it doesn't work like that. We're also coming off of Diabetes Awareness Month. That was November. So I feel especially compelled to speak out, even though I would anyway, because diabetes comes from a whole range of different factors, and being overweight does not cause diabetes. If that were true, then everyone who is overweight would have diabetes, and that is not true.
Fair enough. Yeah, this movie was bad. I felt like it was just unnecessarily cruel and crude. And I don't know who would give Adam Sandler millions of dollars to make this PG-13 animated quote unquote family movie.
As I was watching, I was like, this is not a family movie.
But who is this for?
When did this movie come out?
2002.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense now.
What you mean?
No, because I'm like you said, like the crudeness and everything, because, watching it through 2021 glasses, I was like, when the old dude was having a seizure, I was like, how is this funny?
Right. And then like they've made a trans joke, like somebody was married to a trans woman. Was it the mayor, maybe?
Yeah. It's like, yeah, something like that. Yeah, the mayor. So I was just like, I thought about, like, I knew this movie was old. Some like these jokes are not, maybe in 2002 these jokes was landing, but I'm watching it now and I'm like, this ain't it. Because it just seems like he was a dick for no reason. Like, I understand your parents died, but I'm like, why are you a dick though? Like, you can keep that anger inside or whatever, or sadness or whatever you want to do. But I'm like, why are you a dick to everybody? These people didn't do nothing wrong to you. So it was like, for him to be like, and also like, okay, so he and that girl were together as they were kids. His parents died. He became an asshole to everybody fast forward all of this stuff. Okay, so now he was nice to her son, taught on basketball. Next thing you know, fast forward again to the end to where he's like, he helps Whitey out. Next thing you know, they together. What the fuck? I was like, they haven't even been on a date. It wasn't like that magical Disney thing where like, they go on a date again and everything's all sweet. They didn't even do that. So I'm like, all of a sudden now they together.
Cutting corners left and right.
So I kind of have a theory on this. I think it was a bit of a ripoff of The Grinch, because there are some parallels and similarities, like the fact that he hates everyone and is rude to everyone, and it's from something that happened back in his childhood, and then he ends up with his like childhood sweetheart at the end anyway, and I think they had something about his heart in there.
Yeah, because in the original, they don't explain.
That's not that.
It wasn't there was no backstory behind him. But in a newer one, like they were like mean to him or something. I don't remember. I just vaguely remember.
Yeah.
But nah, we don't need to defend this. It was shit.
It was not good. Yeah.
It's it's like it's not one of those movies we're gonna add to that is still good after all these years. And another thing that irked me was they at the end of the movie where they play his concert. Why the fuck would you play a live concert without the video? My thing is he had Rob Schneider in there and some other stuff going on, but we couldn't see that. So why would you put that in there? Like if it's just a song or whatever, sure. But you play the live
concert version.
Yeah, live concert version without the video. So it was like you're having these conversations and comments for the people to see, but we can't see that. So they should have just played the song.
There's so many missteps in this. I'm just gonna apologize for even having us watch this shit, because like I saw this movie like maybe 15 years ago, and I didn't remember if I liked it or not. But I was like, Hanukkah, yeah, and I did this to us, and I'm sorry. I just want to apologize to you two, and I want to apologize formally to the holiday of Hanukkah. I am sorry.
Rachel, what do you think about the song that he did at the end?
I think that's like one of the most famous Hanukkah songs ever to everyone, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, I was gonna say that shit is sad.
Mm-hmm.
If that's all y'all got.
No, there's lots of things in the Jewish community. There's lots of songs about Hanukkah in the Jewish community. But
was that shit hitting the charts though? Is that topping the charts, Rachel?
Nope, that's what I'm saying. Adam Sandler's song is like the most popular one, which is kind of ridiculous. Like we have so little Jewish content in the media anyway. And Hanukkah, okay, this is my other thing about Hanukkah. Hanukkah is probably the most widely known Jewish holiday, like to non-Jewish people. And it is not even in the top 3 most important holidays. It's not an important holiday. It gets lumped in with Christmas because it happens around Christmas time sometimes. And it got commercialized. And that's the only reason everybody knows about it.
Did it get commercialized though?
Okay. We did not start giving gifts out for Hanukkah until like after the Holocaust, I think. It got lumped in with Christmas. Kids were feeling bad that they weren't getting any presents. They just added it on to Hanukkah and they commercialized it. Fun Jewish history lesson.
Okay. I appreciate it because before this, I knew nothing.
What do you think that this the Rotten Tomatoes of this movie is?
10.
15.
No, wait, no, I'll take that back. Let me go higher since people like that song. Let me go with 40.
Oh, that was stupid, Matt. 12.
I should have stuck with my first one.
You should have. All right. Here is our trivia question of the week, gang. Which famous twin siblings have a small voice cameo in this movie? A. Tia
and Ashley Olsen.
A. Tia and Tamara. B. Zach and Cody. Or C. The Olsen twins.
B.
She's very confident. I'm about to switch mine to hers.
Okay. So yes, the answer is B, the Sprouse twins. They are the voices of the toy soldiers at KB Toy Store when the mall comes alive. Rachel, how did you know that?
I think I looked up some of the voices because I recognize them. But also, Adam Sandler tends to work with the same people, and I feel like he worked with them on something else.
Oh, were they Big Daddy?
The little boy.
I'm not a big Adam Sandler fan, so I don't know.
Yeah.
They were. He was the little boy in Big Daddy.
Okay. That makes sense. All right, let's do a trivia dump and then we're almost out of here. So the director the director said all the product placement that they use was used without permission.
And so Foot Locker, they have no problem with it.
I mean, it's free promotion. It's not like they
Right.
shat on those products.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say though, did anyone get sued? Because what if they hated the movie and the movie's message and was like, this doesn't align with our company's like values?
They didn't say anything negative about those companies, so I don't think they had an issue. But when that song came up where he was singing about all the places in the mall, I was like, this is almost a clever way of doing product placement, but then they didn't even get paid for it, so that was just a waste of everybody's time, I think. Davy's parents are voiced by Adam Sandler's actual parents, Stan Sandler and Judith Sandler. This is Stan's only film appearance. He died in 2003, and his memory was dedicated in another Adam Sandler film, 50 First Dates. This is the third animated movie to receive a Razzie nomination. And some years after its release, the director revealed that he wanted certain scenes cut from the film, but they tested well with audiences and were not cut as a result. Specifically noting a scene involving deer and feces. He also noted that test audiences hated the voice of Whitey, but they did not wish for the voice to change.
I can see that.
Yeah. All right. So, Rachel, do you have anything to plug this week?
Not really.
Fair
You
enough.
don't know what's your social medias. You don't want people to follow you.
I don't really do.
Oh, you don't want the listeners to slide in them DMs?
I don't have Instagram. I don't have Twitter. I don't have anything you can follow me on. I'm just on Facebook.
I like how you said that with a question mark. I don't know what I'm on.
I mean, I don't know if I would, accept random friend requests from people because they watch the podcast. But I guess if you have any more questions about Hanukkah or Judaism or diabetes, you
Ask
can
them at weusetotalkpod@gmail.com.
There you go.
And we'll forward that
And
information.
they'll forward it to me.
Right. Yeah. So thank you so much for, agreeing to come on, Rachel. You've given us a lot of content. It's been a while since I was not able to wrangle an episode, and the listeners won't actually have to hear this, but we are over 2 hours in this record, so I have a lot to cut. So we've gotten a lot of content out of you, and I just want to say thank you. I honestly don't know if I'll invite you back if this is the kind of behavior you're going to show here with all this fucking content, but it was a fun conversation. Thank you for agreeing to be here this week.
I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult, but you're welcome.
It's both. Just so
Yeah.
we're clear, it's both.
And I second that. Thank you for being on. We appreciate it. I like our banter back and forth. I like how you wasn't scared. A lot of people are too timid and kind of shy on this.
Yes. I second that, Matt. I appreciate you really pushing forward and pushing back with us, because a lot of previous guests will just let us kind of take over the conversation, and you stood your ground, and that is something that we ask for in a guest. So thank you so much for listening. Please rate, like, and review our podcast on your platform of choice. If you have any feedback, please email us at weusedtotalkpod@gmail.com. Like our Facebook page, We Used to Talk About This at Work, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at We Used to Talk Pod. Come back next week when we discuss Netflix's Night Teeth.
And before we head out, I just want to say rest in peace to Steve and Laura's dog, Rampage. He passed away of old age. He was a great dog, and I'd be remiss without saying that before we head out. And like always, I don't know if this was a good episode. I don't know if this was a bad episode, but whatever you think about it, talk about it at work. Thank you for listening.